Hello guys, my name is Manish. Today I will teach you about Java's literals. So, what is a literal? A literal is a fixed data value. So, there are five types of literals in Java. Those are integer literals, floating literals, character literals, Boolean literals, and string literals. So, first we'll learn about integer literals. Integer literals are any whole number values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anything, and -1, -3. These are all the integer literals. So when you are writing an integer literal just like this 899, which means that this literal is default to integer value. The 67, this is also is default to integer value, which means that Java assumes that 67 is a integer literal. So, when you are looking at this line, you might have a doubt how an integer literal will can be assigned to a byte. As you all know that the storage that an integer data type consumes is 32 bytes, whereas a byte consumes just 8 bytes. So, how is that possible? So, here in Java, there is no such thing. That when you are writing an integer literal within the range of a byte, then you need not worry about assigning an integer literal to byte. But when you are going out of the range like 676, as you all know that range of the byte is from -128 to +127, 676 crosses that range, so here it shows an error. But when you are writing a value, 67 is within the range, no problem in assigning an integer literal 67 to byte. There is no problem with that. So now moving on to long, as you know, as I've told you that when you are writing a 344444, it is also a whole number, which means that this is an integer literal, which means that you are assigning an integer literal to a long literal, which is perfectly valid. But if you want to explicitly specify that this literal is a long value, then you must append a capital L at the end. This explicitly specifies that this is a long value. So this is all with the integer literals. Now moving on to the floating point literals. So what is a floating point literal? A floating point literal is a number, just like a number. Any floating point literal is a number with some fractional value. This is a floating point literal. This floating point literal default to double. This default to double in Java. Don't forget about this. This is very important. This default to double in Java, which, as I've told you before, that this uh, which means that the the Java assumes that when you write this, it assumes that this is an double literal, just a double literal. But when you in order to explicitly specify that this is a float literal, I have appended an capital F. When you remove this, the compiler assumes that 3.1234522 is an double literal, and it will show you an type conversion error. So in order to specify, you must append capital F or small f. For double value, you can for in order to assign this to a double variable, you can just assign it directly like this. Double D is equal to 899. That's it. You can there is also a representation, like you can also append a capital D or a small d, which is perfectly valid, but this is almost redundant, so I'll remove this. Now moving on to character literals. So character literals, like we know the anything which is present on this keyboard, any printable characters comes under character set. So here, as you know that in some other programming languages and in just Java is similar to C, almost similar to C, here the characters are specified within the single quotes. Come on, if you want to specify capital R, you specify, you have to specify them within the single quotes. Here I have specified a number 7. Now if you, there are some characters like he in this double quotes, if you want to specify a single quote, then you cannot specify directly like this. You need to use something called as escape sequence. Escape sequence is just prefixing this with an backslash. That's it. these are all escape sequences. This is an escape sequence, just prefixing this single quote with a backslash. So this is all about character literals. Now moving on to the Boolean literals. This Boolean literal can have only two values. They like you can have either true or false. The true literal in Java is not equal to 1, and false literal is also not equal to 0. This true and false cannot be converted into any numeric data types. So this boolean literals and boolean variables are used only in with relational operators or in boolean expressions. So I forgot to tell this is the coming back to this floating point literal. This is the standard notation, just writing the number and having the digits after the decimal point. But this scientific notation where this is the floating literal, and which this means that this thing means that which this is 3.45 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 11. This is the scientific notation, which is 3.45 into 10 raised to the power 11. You can use this notation almost perfectly. This is also very good notation when you have a very small or very large value. This looks quite good, and we are done with boolean literals, floating character, and integer literals. All that is left is string literals. String literals, just like in all the other programming languages, these are specified as a sequence of characters enclosed within a pair of double quotes. This is a string literal. That's it. So this is all about literals in Java. So thank you for watching my video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So please do a like if you like my video, and thank you.